Hey there, I'm Jackie Ferris. This week on the 302, we are traveling to Mars without leaving Earth at the Delaware Art Museum. We're going to get a behind-the-scenes look at a new exhibit called Our Red Planet. Stay tuned, the 302 is blasting off straight ahead. Hey everybody, we are at the Delaware Art Museum checking out a brand new exhibit called Our Red Planet. And we're here with the exhibit's artist, Anna Ott. Anna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So talk to me a little bit about an overview of this exhibit. Basically, it's inspired of NASA images, but also has natural beauty to it.
Yes, thank you. The exhibition title, Our Red Planet, is actually began with my interest in Mars, exploration of Mars, and the beautiful images that come from NASA that now they're available to everybody. And when first Margaret Winslow invited me to exhibition here at the Delaware, I was working on that series that I call Our Red Planet, and it was all about Mars, because the title was ironic, because I love the inspiration. I mean, I love the exploration, I love the technology. It's fascinating, the idea of traveling to Mars, and now it's almost a reality. But at the same time, I feel like how we decided that our red planet, that Mars is our planet, that we can go and mine it for resources, or this troubles me a little bit. So maybe not a little bit, maybe quite a bit. So that's why the title was ironic. And that was in 2020. And since then, as we had our conversation, exhibition evolved, because there's some images here that are inspired by Mars and Mars exploration, but other images came to be completely different, because the climate disasters, political problems, and surely after the September 24th, it was my emotional state, like being half Ukrainian, half Russian, was amplified, and I felt like this is our red planet, meaning red, it's bleeding, it's so hot, there's so much pain around and so much problems, and I felt like now it's became a literal meaning, our red planet that needs help. And that's how, like, first entered the emergency blanket that I had around.
Let's talk about that. Now, this really, when you walk into this space, it really is kind of a breathtaking image that captures your eye. And this kind of speaks to what's happening to our planet right now. Tell us about why.
Well, again, this emergency blanket was in my studio since the summer of 2021. And at summer 2021, where I live, we had 10 tornado warnings. And I lived here in the US for 30 years, and I never had a tornado warning or tornado watch. And I was very surprised to have it on my iPhone that we have a tornado warning, and I disregarded it completely. But next day we had 2 touchdowns, and one dealership was destroyed very close to me. So it was really put me on high alert, and I started preparing and thinking how we can prepare for tornado, for any natural disasters. Also, I lived in California for 4 years. I studied in California, and I have a lot of friends and family in California, and year after year, they have horrible fires. So, and if you look at the news, the political news, political events, like in this country and also all around the world, it's getting more and more agitated. So I felt like any of us can use emergency blanket any moment. So
let's talk a little bit about another piece that kind of is similar, but maybe not. and it's the copper images about the truth. Talk to me. What kind of truth are you trying to share with the viewer?
Well, this is very interesting. It's also a later edition, inspired as well by political events, not just one particular, but like series of political, just my general, because growing up in Soviet Union and coming here after the perestroika, after the wall curtain or Iron Curtain came down, and encountering new system and living here for 30 years and seeing how this country is changing every decade is very different from the previous one.
Yeah.
So it's just a philosophical work, and it's called The Glorious Truth.
Okay.
And there are two quotes that were could explain the glorious truth. One is the history is written by the winner, and that means that the winner has to tell the story. And the story is always glorified, and some parts are put forward, some parts are being not talked about. But reality, the truth, I don't know what the truth is, but the reality, the life, is much more complicated.
There are two sides.
There's messy, it's very messy.
Is that why it's painted on two sides, because there are two sides to the truth?
Somewhat, yes. I think you could say that. And you can walk around this piece and you can see, because I asked specifically to have a lot of light, the shiny light, the glorious truth is shine and bright, and you getting all this, either truth, the story, or sensation at you. But when you walk around, you see the making of it. You see how life is much more complex, how much more different, you know.
Absolutely.
And it applies to the piece across it, where I use the newspapers, because this piece is more abstract, and then the newspapers are concrete. And I wanted to have, we'll probably getting news like now, we'll have it in online, right? So yeah, digital format, but I like the tangibility, and also it's not commentary, let's say, to this particular year. I think it's a commentary on the nature of media, and a commentary on the human behavior. So also, like for the newspapers, I think maybe another quote which is relevant to me is the first victim of war is the truth, and the second is humanity. And I'd like this work to be a warning, just so people don't take the news at the share value, you know, the face value.
Sure.
You'd like to learn, but also be careful and keep your own humanity.
Absolutely. Well, when we return, we're going to talk more about our red planet. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Laura Fravel. I'm the Sewell C. Biggs Curator of American Art at the Biggs Museum of American Art, and I enjoy art on the 302.
Welcome back. We're at the Delaware Art Museum, and we're talking about Our Red Planet with artist Anna Ott. Now, Anna, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Mars Wanderings. Tell me about that.
Well, Mars Wandering is the painting that is in a style that I've been working for a long time. It's a repetitive brushwork style that was influenced by Buddhist meditative practice.
Oh.
Yes, and when you do the stroke and you meditate just in general on a specific topic, but this style evolved, and I've been working on this style for over 15 years, I think. So the image is based on just the idea of Mars, the surface of the Mars, and experience, imaginary experience, how it would be to be in the Mars. And what's interesting about this painting, when originally I started painting it, I wanted to have the colors to be very close what we all think about Mars, kind of orangey, peachy, that soft colors. And when I was finishing that, when I started painting, I did underpainting and I did layers, because there's a lot of layers at the background. So, and then the colors also changes from sides to center, or from the edges toward the center lines.
It's really amazing, because when you look at it, it's almost two-dimensional, because it looks like, you know, it's not a flat surface. Like you could, and they told me not to touch it, and I didn't, but I wanted to, because you could almost see the texture, you could feel the texture, and when you move, there's just a little bit of, I don't know, Mars dust, this little sparkly. It really is, it draws you in.
Thank you. Yes, it's interesting. Thank you so much. The effect meant to implement and intentionally, because it's between the light and dark. The light is, you experience something closer, and dark, it kind of draws you in. And usually I have just one line, like a horizon line on point of focus. But for some, because it's a Mars, and because of the space, and there's no gravity, and there's like all this different motion, I wanted to have different centers of interest. And so that's why I had several light lines. That what creates this kind of slightly disorienting movement. And what the sparkle is actually metallic, the iron. It's actually iron pigment, which give me, I wanted to do natural pigments there, and I added iron pigment, and I added actual meteorite.
Really?
Yes, it's a meteorite pigment that you can buy in the art store, and it comes from Morocco. So I don't know where the meteorite came from, but it's from space. So I just conceptually wanted to have natural material like that. And surprisingly, the iron pigment gave me that sparkle.
That's amazing. Now tell us about the piece that we're standing on.
This is the labyrinth. And I wanted to have, to make a labyrinth for a very long time. And I thought this would be a perfect opportunity, again, is to imagine this exhibition. As I said, all the events were troublesome, and I wanted to have this a sanctuary. I want people to come here and find peace and find solstice, to find the elevation, or just quiet moment. And labyrinths are actually, they existed since 4,000 years ago, maybe like earlier labyrinth, and we don't really know exactly why, how they got invented. But since Middle Ages, they've been used in cathedrals, like for spiritual practice.
Sure.
So meditative spiritual practice. So in a way, my painting practice and labyrinth walking, it's a different medium, but it's the same experience in a way, and it aims at the same result.
Now, I know that a lot of people are going to come, they're going to see your work, they're just going to be blown away, because it really is, you know, a very meditative, soothing, other world kind of experience if you just sit and look at it. But a lot of people want to take some stuff home, and you have something that they could take home that's inspired of this exhibit. Tell me a little bit about the scarf.
Yes, the gift shop at the museum will have two types of scarves. One is made from the image of moon, that's what I'm wearing, and another one is made from the image of Mars. So it's not going to be exact replica that's in the exhibition of the image, but I made the designs using the same photograph or using the same imagery. So because when you design a scarf, you think of different application. You see how it's going to drape and how look close to your face.
Well, it's beautiful. It really is. It really is. Now, I know that the exhibit will be here for a little while, but do you have a website if somebody wants to know more about your art or your inspiration that they can go to?
My website is flaneta.com. It's like planet, only Flaneta. It's actually because you can see continuation with the interest of space, because when I opened my website, when I created the website, I was doing drawings that's called planets, which was very small flowers in the shape of the planet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's so it's a combination, two words combined, planet and planet. Oh, flowers and planet. So it's a flaneta.com.
Well, Anna, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on the 302.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll be right back.
My name is Ryan Grover, and I'm the director of Rockwood Park and Museum. I love the 302 because it makes history come alive.
We have so much going on. So we've got this exhibit. It goes through July. What else can we expect for 2023?
Well, it will be an exciting spring, summer, and fall. So not only are exciting temporary exhibitions that are on view, but as always, a whole schedule of exciting public programs. So I'll start with coming up in April opens Estampas de la Raza, contemporary prints from the Romo collection. And this will be a vibrant exhibition of over 60 prints by over 40 artists coming from the McNay Museum in Texas. And these are prints that look at the Mexican-American and Latino experience through the medium of printmaking.
That's really amazing when you think about, you know, printmaking has been an art form that's been going on forever and ever. And, you know, people of color have not been represented as often as perhaps they should be because they really have strong roots in the medium, right?
Certainly, and it'll be an exciting exhibition like many of our temporary exhibitions, especially traveling shows. The Delaware Art Museum always puts a unique spin on it, looking to members of our community to engage with the art and interpret it in new and exciting ways. So on May 13th, we will have a fashion show with the work of the Delaware-based artist Julieta Zavala. She is looking to the strong collection of prints, interpreting them, and responding to them with her own artistic practice in fashion.
Well, I know that a lot of people saw the last segment and they're thinking to themselves, I have to get that scarf. So would there be an accompanying piece in the gift shop for that exhibit, you know, that maybe people could take home?
Oh, that's a really good question. Our museum store always thinks about our temporary exhibitions and of course the museum's collection when thinking about the wonderful merchandise that we offer to our visitors. So whether they're works of fiction and nonfiction that relate to themes in the exhibition, of course some wonderful fashion as well, and often artist made jewelry and pottery, things like that. So I'm certain that there'll be some wonderful options in the museum store.
That's great. Now I know that you have 4 pieces. Are they 4 pre-Raphaelite pieces that are going on a trip?
Yes, they are. They are taking quite the journey across the pond. So if visitors come to the museum between April and September, they unfortunately will not see some of our core works by Dante Gabriel Rossetti. But it's for a very exciting reason. Those works are traveling to Tate Britain in London, where they will be on view with a landmark exhibition called the Rossettis. So if you happen to be in London, go say hi to our pre-Raphaelites. Then that entire exhibition will travel here to the Delaware Art Museum for the only United States showing of the Rossettis, opening on October 21st and going through January of next year.
Now, the fact that these pieces are on loan in London, does that mean that it gives you a little bit of room to kind of move things around and give people who maybe, because I know you have regulars that come and just kind of linger with the paintings, they know everything about them, and now they're going to get a fresh look at something in the galleries?
Absolutely. So our pre-Raphaelite curator, Sophie Linford, is taking this opportunity to show some of those works of art that typically rotate or are not always on view It's also the opportunity to continue a loan of 3 Evelyn de Morgan paintings that were on view in the de Morgan exhibition that we just closed. We were able to extend that loan. And so putting those 3 Evelyn de Morgan paintings in the Pre-Raphaelite Permanent Collection galleries gives opportunity for visitors who loved those paintings to see them again and to put them in a new context. So you're right, there's always some opportunity when some of our favorite works of art go and travel.
Excellent. Now, the one thing that a lot of people, every time I do a show with somebody, I always encourage people to come from wherever they are and visit, maybe have a little lunch in town, but they don't need to have a little lunch in town because you have a cafeteria that's amazing.
We do. We have a fabulous cafe, Cafina. You can get tasty drinks, wonderful lunch treats. You can enjoy the view out into the Copeland Sculpture Garden. You can take time to move through the space. The Sculpture Garden is a wonderful opportunity to enjoy nature and art together in this wonderful setting. And of course, always save time for the museum store. As I mentioned, there are really wonderful offerings that pair with our collections and our temporary exhibitions. It's a great opportunity for a day visit.
Sounds like it. Well, I'm glad that we're here today. Thank you, Margaret, for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here.
We'll be right back. Are you enjoying the show? If you visit the Delaware Art Museum and Our Red Planet, make sure you snap a couple of pictures and tag the 302 on Facebook. Now, here are a couple of other things you might want to check out. For more information on any of the exhibits here at the Delaware Art Museum, you can visit delart.org. That'll do it for this week's episode of the 302. Make sure you follow us on Facebook to get behind-the-scenes content you're not going to see anywhere else. We're going to leave you now with a beauty shot of the Copeland Sculpture Garden just outside. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. Tell them you saw it on the 302.